Hello everyone, welcome to our channel. Today, we'll discuss the top 10 policies implemented by President Donald Trump during his second term, focusing on his economic strategies, immigration reforms, and foreign policy initiatives. Stay tuned as we delve into these significant actions shaping the nation's future. Before we dive in, make sure to hit that subscribe button so you don't miss any of our future videos. Let's dive in. The withdrawal of the United States from international agreements can bring both benefits and challenges. For the United States, the benefits often include greater autonomy in policymaking, reduced financial obligations, and flexibility to prioritize national interests over multilateral commitments. For example, withdrawing from the Paris Climate Accord allowed the United States to avoid costly emission reduction mandates, supporting industries like coal and oil. For China, U.S. withdrawals can create opportunities to fill leadership gaps in global governance. China has positioned itself as a champion of multilateralism, gaining influence in climate action, trade, and global diplomacy. This shift helps China bolster its global image and expand economic ties, particularly with developing nations. However, if the United States withdraws from international agreements, China could face significant challenges despite potential opportunities. The absence of U.S. leadership might destabilize global systems, creating uncertainty in trade, security, and climate cooperation. For China, this could disrupt supply chains, slow economic growth, and strain diplomatic efforts. A fragmented global framework limits China's ability to leverage multilateral platforms for its strategic goals, as countries may become wary of aligning too closely with Beijing. Additionally, a power vacuum could fuel rivalries and competition, forcing China to allocate more resources to maintain influence while navigating unpredictable global dynamics without U.S. collaboration. Globally, such withdrawals weaken the effectiveness of collective action, eroding trust in multilateral systems. Issues like climate change and global trade become harder to address. This can lead to geopolitical tensions, economic instability, and a fragmented approach to solving shared global challenges. 2. Imposition of tariffs on Colombia. The imposition of tariffs on Colombia by the United States can strain bilateral relations, particularly in trade. Tariffs typically raise the cost of goods imported from Colombia, affecting key industries such as agriculture, coffee, and textiles. For Colombia, this means reduced market access to the United States, its largest trading partner, which could hurt economic growth, lead to job losses, and diminish exports. The United States may impose tariffs as a means of addressing trade imbalances, unfair practices, or concerns over intellectual property violations, but this can create tensions. For Colombia, the tariff imposition can lead to retaliatory measures, increasing the complexity of trade negotiations. It could also prompt Colombia to seek new trade partners, strengthening ties with other regions such as the European Union or China. While the United States may benefit in the short term by protecting domestic industries, long-term relations could suffer, potentially weakening diplomatic and economic cooperation and destabilizing the trading environment. The outcome of such tariff imposition could result in retaliatory measures from Colombia, affecting U.S. exports. Tensions may escalate, complicating trade negotiations and diplomatic ties. However, Colombia may seek to diversify its trading partners, strengthening relationships with the European Union or China. Over time, the strained trade relationship could hinder deeper cooperation between the two countries, undermining mutual economic benefits and stability in the region. 3. Renewed interest in acquiring Greenland. The renewed interest in acquiring Greenland, especially by the United States, has sparked global discussions due to its strategic location, vast natural resources, and potential geopolitical significance. Greenland, an autonomous territory of Denmark, holds significant mineral resources, including rare earth elements, and its location in the Arctic makes it valuable for military and shipping routes, especially as climate change opens up new navigation paths. In the long term, attempts to acquire Greenland could lead to strained relations between the United States and Denmark, and possibly with other global powers. It could also alter the dynamics of Arctic governance, intensifying competition for resources and territory in the region. For Greenland, such interest might bring economic opportunities, but also the risk of losing its cultural and political autonomy. The outcome could result in heightened tensions among global powers, with Greenland caught in a larger geopolitical struggle, and a shift in regional and global power balances.
4. Trade ultimatum to Mexico and Canada. A trade ultimatum issued to Mexico and Canada by the United States often stems from concerns over trade imbalances, unfair practices, or unmet trade deal terms. For example, the United States under former President Trump threatened tariffs or other measures to push both countries into renegotiating the North American Free Trade Agreement, NAFTA. The outcome of such ultimatums can be a reshaped trade agreement, as seen with the replacement of NAFTA with the United States-Mexico-Canada Agreement, USMCA. For Mexico and Canada, responding to trade ultimatums typically means adjusting policies to meet U.S. demands, such as opening markets, addressing labor standards, or increasing intellectual property protections. While these changes may benefit the United States in the short term, the negotiation process can create tension and disrupt trade flows. Ultimately, the outcome is often a revised trade framework that reflects the United States' priorities, but may lead to long-term economic shifts, strained relations, and unintended consequences for all parties involved.
5. Economic demands at the World Economic Forum. At the World Economic Forum, economic demands are often focused on addressing global challenges like inequality, climate change, trade, and sustainable growth. Leaders from governments, businesses, and international organizations meet to discuss policies that can drive economic development and tackle systemic risks. Key demands often include promoting fair trade practices, reducing wealth disparities, supporting innovation, and committing to environmental sustainability. There are also calls for greater cooperation in areas like global health, technology regulation, and the future of work. The outcomes of these discussions are typically new initiatives, partnerships, or commitments to policy changes aimed at fostering long-term economic stability. While the World Economic Forum can generate valuable dialogues, the real impact depends on how these discussions are translated into actionable policies. Some outcomes may include agreements on climate action, global tax reforms, or investment in emerging markets. However, challenges remain in ensuring that such promises lead to tangible and widespread economic improvements. 6. Immigration enforcement actions. Immigration enforcement actions such as increased border patrols, deportations, and crackdowns on undocumented workers aim to curb illegal immigration and uphold national security. These actions typically target individuals who have overstayed visas or crossed borders without proper documentation. The immediate outcomes often include a reduction in the number of illegal immigrants entering or remaining in a country, as well as a heightened sense of border security. However, the broader outcomes can be more complex. Immigration enforcement can lead to family separations, fear within immigrant communities, and challenges to the workforce, particularly in industries reliant on migrant labor. It can also strain the legal system with rising numbers of detentions and deportation proceedings. On the political front, these actions may ignite public debate, with some supporting stricter measures for national security reasons, while others argue for more compassionate immigration policies that address root causes like economic disparity and violence in immigrants' home countries. 8. Engagement with Russia. Engaging with Russia can offer both opportunities and challenges for the United States. Diplomatic engagement may help stabilize global security by addressing nuclear proliferation, arms control, and regional conflicts. For the U.S., positive outcomes could include promoting arms reduction agreements, easing tensions in Europe, and fostering cooperation in combating terrorism and other global threats. Engagement can also provide economic benefits by facilitating trade deals, expanding markets, and promoting energy cooperation. However, the engagement must be carefully managed, as Russia's policies and actions often conflict with U.S. interests, especially regarding cybersecurity, human rights, and territorial disputes. A strategic approach allows the U.S. to mitigate risks while promoting stability. In the long run, the U.S. can benefit from a balanced relationship with Russia that promotes peace, security, and economic opportunities, though it requires navigating complex geopolitical dynamics and maintaining global alliances to counter Russia's more aggressive actions in the international arena. 8. Reevaluation of NATO commitments. Reevaluating NATO commitments allows the U.S. to reassess its role in global security and adjust its defense priorities. By reducing its involvement in NATO operations, America can allocate more resources to domestic issues or other geopolitical concerns, such as focusing on the Asia-Pacific region to counter China's rise. This shift can also lessen the financial burden on the U.S., as NATO member states would be encouraged to take on a greater share of defense responsibilities. For the U.S., the benefits include increased flexibility in shaping foreign policy and defense spending priorities. It can maintain strategic influence without being tied to NATO's collective defense obligations, allowing for more independent action. However, this could weaken NATO unity, leading to a diminished global security framework. The outcome might also encourage European countries to strengthen their own defense capabilities, but could reduce overall stability and cooperation among Western allies, altering the global balance of power.
9. Exit from the World Health Organization. WHO. An exit from the World Health Organization by the United States would have significant global and domestic consequences. For the U.S., the primary benefit could be increased control over its health policies without the constraints of international cooperation. This autonomy allows the U.S. to prioritize its own health and safety, avoiding the influence of other nations in decisions such as health funding and pandemic responses. It could also reduce financial obligations, as the U.S. is one of the largest contributors to the WHO budget. However, the negative outcomes would likely outweigh the benefits. Exiting the WHO would weaken global health leadership and diminish the U.S. ability to influence international health standards and responses. It could also isolate the U.S. from collaborative efforts in combating pandemics, diseases, and health crises, ultimately compromising global health security. Additionally, the U.S. would lose access to valuable research, resources, and international cooperation in global health emergencies.
10. The AI Stargate. The Stargate project is a significant AI infrastructure initiative announced by President Donald Trump in January 2025, aiming to invest up to $500 billion over 4 years. This collaboration involves major tech companies including OpenAI, Oracle, and SoftBank, with the goal of enhancing the United States' position in the global AI landscape. Massive investment. The project plans to allocate $100 billion immediately, focusing on building advanced AI data centers and computational resources. Private sector collaboration, OpenAI, Oracle, and SoftBank are leading the initiative, contributing substantial resources and expertise to develop cutting-edge AI technologies. Infrastructure development. The first data center is being established in Abilene, Texas, featuring an on-site natural gas plant capable of producing up to 360.5 megawatts of power, sufficient to support extensive AI operations. Economic growth. The Stargate project is expected to create hundreds of thousands of jobs, stimulating economic development and technological innovation across the nation. Global leadership. By investing heavily in AI infrastructure, the U.S. aims to solidify its leadership in artificial intelligence, fostering advancements that can drive various sectors, including healthcare, finance, and manufacturing. Energy considerations. The project's reliance on natural gas-powered data centers raises discussions about energy sustainability and environmental impact, highlighting the need for balancing technological progress with ecological responsibility. In summary, the Stargate project represents a transformative effort to advance AI capabilities in the United States, with the potential to drive economic growth, reinforce global leadership, and prompt critical discussions on energy and environmental policies. In conclusion, while an exit from the World Health Organization could offer short-term benefits to the U.S. by gaining more autonomy and reducing financial contributions, the long-term consequences could undermine its global leadership in public health. In the short term, the U.S. might enjoy greater control over its domestic health policies and save funds that were previously allocated to the WHO. However, in the long run, this decision could isolate the U.S. from critical international collaborations, diminishing its influence on global health standards and responses to pandemics. The loss of access to global research, resources, and a coordinated response to health crises may ultimately jeopardize U.S. health security and global standing. Thus, while the immediate financial and policy flexibility may seem advantageous, the broader impact could erode the U.S. ability to shape and lead global health initiatives. President Donald Trump's policies brought several benefits to America, including tax cuts that stimulated economic growth and job creation, deregulation efforts to reduce business burdens, and a focus on strengthening the manufacturing sector. His tough stance on immigration aimed to enhance national security, while his foreign policy initiatives prioritized American interests, renegotiating trade deals to boost U.S. exports and strengthen global economic standing. These measures aim to foster a more prosperous and secure nation. That's all for today, folks. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up, share it with your friends, and subscribe to our channel.